When Honda first unveiled the new Civic, I called it a horrific vomit-inducing nightmare. I really did think it was the ugliest hatchback I'd ever seen. A modern-day AMC pacer, but without any of the comedy charm.
Ah, the Mirthmobile.
This is my best friend, Garth Elgar. Hi.
Well, party on, Wayne, because I've done a full 180. I think it looks
Excellent!
bold, imposing, the antithesis of the Volkswagen Golf. Literally a Mardi Gras on wheels. Well, not literally, I got a bit carried away there, sorry. And underneath all its zany aesthetic idiosyncrasy lies a pragmatic and practical family hatchback. And that is where the real beauty of the Honda Civic lies. Of course, you might be sat there, or stood there, thinking it's an absolute munter, and that's your right. But what's inarguable about the Civic is its inherent practicality. The boot, for a start, which is not only 25% bigger than a Volkswagen Golf's boot, but also has this huge hole. And although it's not the tallest hatchback in the world, there is enough room for this 6'4" man-bunned freak to get into it, so there should be enough room for most people. Legroom has improved significantly too, because it's actually quite a bit longer than the old Civic. The other thing that's great about the Civic is the way it handles. The last Civic in particular was pretty boring to drive. Type R aside. This one's much better. The steering's the first real surprise. It's really weighty and sharp. It's one of those steering racks that makes you want to saw at the wheel mid-corner like that. It's nice. Just so you can keep feeling how quickly it changes direction. It's also more comfortable than the outgoing Civic too. Because the dudes and dudesses knocking it together in Swindon are putting a sophisticated kind of rear suspension into it called Multi-Link. What that does is allows the wheels to better absorb the surface of the road independently of the cabin, but also keeping body roll under control when you go around corners. Ultimately, to the untrained backside, it just feels a lot more sophisticated than the last couple of Civics, which were generally too firm. The cabin, on the other hand, is less sophisticated and more your sort of Japanese vista of dark plastic and neon technology. It looks like a vision of 2017, but from back in 1994. Especially the instrument panel. That said, the displays are all clear enough and it all feels as solid as Anthony Joshua in here.
If you feel it, one shot from Anthony Joshua.
One or two niggles aside.
You're not landing that one again. But here it goes.
Like the weird damping of the glove box that makes it bounce when you open it, and the wobbly center console here, which is also covered in this rough cloth that'll exfoliate your elbows if you're wearing short sleeves. But they're all details, because actually the highlight of sitting in the Civic is the brilliant driving position, which is proper low slung and sports car like. This Civic goes back to the feel of the older Civics that had a really mechanical feel, a really positive gear shift and nicely weighted steering, so it feels like you're almost plugged into the car. The aforementioned glove box is sizable, as is the hole underneath the elbow exfoliator. And even the luggage cover looks like it was designed by a specific luggage cover team. How cool is this? A couple of criticisms. I can't say criticisms. The first and most obvious one is the multimedia screen, which is a bit fiddly, although that's starting to become the default thing that you say with these systems. And the old Civic's multi-folding magic seats have gone, although according to Honda, not many people used them, and you do get a 60/40 split folding rear bench as standard. Oh, and you lose a bit of boot space if your car has these twin rear exhausts. Which it will if it's got this 1.5 litre turbo engine, one of two new engines for this new Civic. It's a bit boomy at times, arguably, but it is really punchy right across the rev range. It's full of character, which is quite rare. In pure performance terms, this engine sort of just scrapes into warm hatch territory, kind of like a Golf GTI from a couple of generations ago. But it does strike a nice balance of always feeling quick, but also giving you good fuel economy. If you don't need that much power, the other new engine to this Civic, a 1 litre 3... Oh man. Nick, I'll bring you back in 2. Hang on, I'm right in the middle of something. The other new engine, a trendy 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo, looks quite sluggish on paper, but actually is surprisingly good. In fact, our David Ross called it the best 1 litre petrol around. High praise. You can read what else he said about it on the website. Onto the range itself, it's dominated by petrol engines in a segment that's traditionally been quite hot on diesels. Although with diesels falling out of favour today for various reasons, Honda seems to have face planted ahead of the curve. A diesel will no doubt turn up in the new Civic shortly, most likely the 1.6 that you can still actually buy in the old Civic, weirdly. That said, it is officially a world record breaking 100 miles per gallon car. So for now, we'd stick with the turbo stuff because they're generally more economical and they require less effort to get going, such is the nature of turbocharging. The spec range is broad and the pricing is okay. Now the starting price might look quite high compared to these few arbitrarily chosen rivals, but in fact, it's generally very well equipped and, importantly, has very strong residuals, according to Honda. 9% higher than the outgoing Civic, which if true, means that your monthly payments will be cheaper. One thing it is really worth paying attention to is that although Honda extols the safety virtues of the Civic by pointing out that a whole suite of safety features are standard with this car, called sensing, in fact it's only awarded 4 stars out of 5 in the Euro NCAP test. And what's particularly worrying is that the lowest score is for child occupant safety. Now we won't go through the spec because you can download a brochure yourself and time is moving on. SC gives you the basics in this segment: alloys, aircon, Bluetooth, DAB radio. From there on, through the many trim levels, it starts to look like a good, well-equipped, well-priced car. Thanks for watching. More info on the Civic at HonestJohn.co.uk, where we have a full review and a road test of the 1 litre, which I mentioned before, by our David. If you like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're watching this on Facebook, please share it. Bye!